If you export, you need to make sure you understand the U.S. Foreign Trade Regulations requirements for filing your electronic export information, or EEI, through the Automated Export System, also referred to as AES. It's how the U.S. Census Bureau collects export statistics, and it's used by U.S. Customs and Border Protection to ensure that certain types of products don't fall into the wrong hands and threaten our national security. I'll tell you more about AES, including who needs to submit the electronic export information and when, but before I do, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our videos sharing practical advice for exporters and importers. As a general rule, exports of goods valued at more than $2,500 per Schedule B classification, or any goods that require an export license, need to be submitted to AES, although there are exceptions, such as certain shipments to Canada. Check out the link in the description to download our free ebook that explains those requirements in more detail. The purpose of this video is to explain who needs to actually do the EEI filing. There are 3 parties that can file the EEI data with AES: the U.S. Principal Party in Interest, abbreviated as USPPI, the USPPI's authorized agent, or the authorized agent of the Foreign Principal Party in Interest, abbreviated as FPPI. In order to understand this, we need to define what a USPPI and an FPPI are. According to the Census Bureau, the USPPI is the person or legal entity in the United States that receives the primary benefit, monetary or otherwise, from the export transaction. The definition goes on to say that the USPPI's general description can include a U.S.-based manufacturer if they are selling the goods for export, a U.S.-based wholesaler or distributor if they are selling the goods for export, a U.S.-based order party, which is the person who is brokering the deal if they negotiated the sale with the foreign buyer and received the order, a foreign entity if they are in the United States when they purchased or obtained the goods for export. The National Customs Broker and Forwarders Association of America sums it up this way: if you are the recipient of the purchase order from the overseas party for cargo that is exported and you are invoicing them for the product, you are the USPPI no matter what the terms of sale are. To try to simplify this a bit, the USPPI is usually the same as the exporter, but that's not always the case. It's an important distinction because even in those cases where the USPPI and the exporter are different parties, the USPPI is required to provide specific information about the product being exported to the party doing the AES filing. On the other end of the transaction, the FPPI is defined as the party abroad who purchases the goods for export or to whom final delivery or end use of the goods will be made. This party may be the ultimate consignee. In other words, it's the international buyer. In a standard export transaction, one in which the seller of the goods, the USPPI, makes the arrangements to transport the goods out of the country to the foreign buyer, it's the USPPI or their agent that does the filing. At Shipping Solutions, we recommend that the USPPI do the AES filing themselves. First of all, it's fairly easy to do, especially if you are using export documentation software like Shipping Solutions. Second, it will save you money. In our experience, an agent typically charges $50 to $125 per export to do the filing on your behalf. Most importantly, doing the AES filing yourself helps ensure that the filing is done correctly. That means the filing is done on time and with the proper information. While you might not be held liable for an inaccurate filing, the hassle of a potential investigation is simply not worth it. That being said, most exporters do rely on an agent, usually their freight forwarder, to do the filing on their behalf. If you choose this option, you will typically need to create a shipper's letter of instruction, or SLI, to provide the export information your agent will need to successfully complete the filing. If you're going to ask the freight forwarder to file your electronic export information through AES, you need to provide them with written authorization to file on your behalf. This is usually done by including an appropriate statement on the SLI you give them. You can click the link below to download a sample SLI form that includes this authorization. If you do rely on your freight forwarder to file, make sure you request proof of the filing so you can make sure it was done and it included the correct information. If your international buyer is arranging to pick up and ship your goods out of the United States, this is called a routed export transaction. In this case, the FPPI must designate a party located in the United States to do the AES filing on their behalf. Typically, that would be the freight forwarder they hire to arrange the transport. However, you can negotiate with the FPPI to authorize you, as the USPPI, to do the AES filing. Why? Again, by doing it yourself, you can make sure it's done correctly. Keep in mind that even when it's a routed export transaction and the USPPI is not responsible for the EEI filing, you are still required by the Foreign Trade Regulations to include 10 data elements that the buyer's agent needs to file the correct information through AES. Once again, you will typically use the SLI to provide the required data elements. Download the free ebook listed below to get a list of these required data elements. Regardless of who is required to file, consider doing the AES filing yourself as the USPPI in a standard export transaction or on behalf of the FPPI in a routed export transaction. Watch our video that walks you step by step through the process of submitting your AES filings through Shipping Solutions, and sign up for a free online demo of the software so you can see how quick and easy it is to create your export paperwork, like a shipper's letter of instruction, and to file through AES. You'll find all the links below. If you like this video, like it, share it, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Watch for more videos sharing real practical advice for exporters and importers.